Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Our current session focuses on teaching reading and viewing inside and outside the classroom. I hope and expect this session would give you some idea of how reading can be taught inside and outside the classroom. Well, my dear students, when it comes to L2 or when it comes to the learning of a foreign language, it is important that any particular skill is practiced both inside and outside the classroom. Well, when it comes to reading, I think as compared to listening, for instance, reading is comparatively easier to practice outside the classroom as well. And thus, the combination of practice inside and outside the classroom in reading skill can enable the readers and viewers to be better in reading and viewing. Well, the possible role of modern technologies can be exploited actually for this purpose. The concept of reading and literacy is no longer confined to the conventional notion of or the idea of reading a text from a printed page or paper or from a book. Today, in the context of highly developed IT, resources, viewing, that is the form of reading where on a screen of a computer monitor or on mobile screens or in some other ways by the use of technology, actually the viewers would view various texts and they would come across actually these kind of texts in their everyday lives. So this encounter with the viewing activities is a part of the daily routine of today's people. I would give you the examples: knowing how to use a media text on the CD-ROM or on a VCD, DVD, MP3, MP4, iPhone, iPads, podcasts, and many other applications where IT is used are just the illustrations of such literacy competence which is expected to be possessed by the users of language in every day. Knowledge is essential of the internet and the highly frequent nature of intertextuality that is represential in the digital text, where a word or a sentence is linked to another meaning that is hosted on a separate website or of the internet with rich, meaningful transactions. This is how there are multi-faces, there are multiple faceted pieces of information that are to be viewed together to go through the process of whole meaning making. Well, the practice of this intertextuality, where one text is related to the other text or where the meaning making process in one text is connected with the other text, is very, very important in today's world. And it is a generic feature that is represented with sounds, with pictorial images, with video clips, animations, and the related multi-layered links with various kind of captions or dubbing of in words and sentences, etc. So a viewer needs to bring in all these together for a successful viewing of any text. This practice of relative modernity and novelty in the text presentation, as well as I would say representation, and its ever-changing nature, these are seldom found in the conventional printed materials that have been used throughout the history for reading purposes. In educational contexts, the use of information and communication technology, ICT technology, in meaning-conveying processes poses further challenges to the educators or to the teachers, who will have to themselves learn these technologies and need to be comfortable in the use of these technologies before they would use them in the classroom. Approaches to teaching reading and viewing are to a great extent dependent upon students' materials and contexts. So this is a combination of what kind of learners or students, what kind of materials to be used, and what is the social context, the cultural context, or the setting in which these materials are taught. In the classroom, as an illustration of the utility of these teaching strategies, the use of a package of strategies that is called KWL chart is an example. As a typical procedure, teachers usually distribute the chart to each student clearly indicating the 3 columns. Each column would have this one capital letter at the top as K, W, and L respectively. One student gets a text to be read. The teacher's teaching activity can proceed from K, what I already know. So this K stands for knowing, which typically serves as a pre-reading activity, leading to generating many useful, ideas, vocabulary items, and key issues that might help the student. Then the teacher moves on to the next stage, that is W, what I want to know. So the wants, what is the requirement of, or what is the intention of the student. And students can be encouraged to use a variety of reading and viewing strategies such as note-taking or summarizing reading and viewing and connecting and monitoring in this process. And this is how, such an activity can be carried out in pairs and in groups. And with this, they would move to the final stage of the activity where they would do the reading task, where the actual process of reading would take place. So, to keep a balance and to utilize in the best possible way both the inside the classroom and the outside the classroom resources is important when it comes to teaching, reading, and viewing in an L2 classroom.